Well, you see, Justin, I would paint you like one of those French girls, but I don't think I have a canvas big enough. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. It's a pleasure to have you all here. And I'm glad to see that the chat and stuff's working as well. How is everyone? It's going to be pretty good, hopefully. We have some bedtime stories to read. Thank you. Took a while to sort things out, but for first model, I'd say it turned out quite well. You cannot sleep tonight and you wonder why. Oh my. Well, hopefully the bedtime stories can help you relax and go to sleep then. Now, the first story on the agenda is one that you guys have heard of before. It's called Go the Fuck to Sleep by Adam Mansbach. Mansbach? I don't know how to say that last name. So, feel free to snuggle up, get nice and comfy, and listen. We should begin in a moment. Ah, thank you. One of your personal favorites, I see. Let's begin then, shall we? The cats nestle close to their kittens. The lambs have laid down with the sheep. You are cozy and warm in your bed, my dear. Please, go the fuck to sleep. The windows are dark in the town, child. The whales huddled down in the deep. I'll read you one very last book, if you swear that you'll go the fuck to sleep. The eagles who soar through the sky are at rest, and the creatures who crawl, run and creep. I know you're not thirsty. That's bullshit. Stop lying. Lie down, my darling, and sleep. The wind whispers soft through the grass. The field mice, they make not a peep. It's been 38 minutes already. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Go to sleep. All the kids from daycare are in dreamland. The froggy has made his last leap. Hell no, you can't go to the bathroom. You know where you can go? The fuck to sleep. And that's adorable that you're cuddling. The owls fly forth from the treetops. Through the air they soar and they sweep. The hot crimson rage fills my heart, love. For real, shut the fuck up and sleep. The cubs and the lions are snoring, wrapped in a big snuggly heap. How come you can do all this other great shit, but you can't lie the fuck down and sleep? The seeds slumber beneath the earth now, and the crops that the farmers will reap. No more questions. This interview's over. I've got 2 words for you, kid. Fucking sleep. The tiger reclines in the Siberian jungle. The sparrow has silenced her cheep. Fuck your stuffed bear. I'm not getting you shit. Close your eyes, cut the crap, and sleep. Flowers doze low in the meadows, and high on the mountains so steep. My life is a failure. I'm a shitty-ass parent. Stop fucking with me, please, and sleep. The giant pangolins of Madagascar are snoozing as I lie here and openly weep. Sure, fine, whatever. I'll bring you some milk. Who the fuck cares? You're not gonna sleep. This room is all I can remember. The furniture crappy and cheap. You win, you escape, you run down the hall as I nod the fuck off and sleep. Bleary and dazed I awaken to find your eyes shut, so I keep my fingers crossed tight as I tiptoe away and pray that you're fucking asleep. We're finally watching our movie. Popcorn's in the microwave. Beep. Oh shit, god damn it, you've got to be kidding. Please, go the fuck back to sleep. That was quite a fun one. Fun and short. Now, the next one on the agenda is, I don't know if it's going to be spooky. It shouldn't be too scary. But it's called Ghosts and Empties. I cannot remember the artist's name. I'll have to tag them when I can. Oh, that's adorable, you two cuddling and sleeping. Let's begin. I have somehow become a woman who oh, I'm a woman now. This is new. I have somehow become a woman who yells, and because I do not want to be a woman who yells, whose little children walk around with frozen, watchful faces, I have taken to lacing on my running shoes after dinner, and going out into the twilight streets for a walk. That's typed weird. Leaving the undressing and sluicing and reading and singing and tucking in of the boys to my husband, a man who does not yell. I have a husband, that's exciting. The neighborhood goes dark as I walk, and a second neighborhood unrolls atop the daytime one. We have few streetlights, and those I pass under make my shadow frolic. It lags behind me, gallops to my feet, gambols on ahead. The only other illumination is from the windows in the houses I pass, and the moon that orders me to look up. Look up! Feral cats dart underfoot. Bird of praise. Flowers poke out of the shadows. Smells are exhaled into the air. Oak dust, slime mold, camphor. Northern Florida is cold in January, and I walk past for warmth, but also because, although the neighborhood is antique, huge Victorian houses radiating outwards into the 1920s bungalows, then mid-century modern ranches at the edges, it's perfectly safe. There was a crime a month ago. A jogger in her 50s pulled into the LZs, and a week ago, a pack of loose pit bulls ran down the street. It's not the dog's fault, though. It's the owner's fault. Dog lovers shouted on the neighborhood email list, and it's true, it was the owner's fault. But also, those dogs were a little crazy. This is an odd story, I will admit. When the suburbs were built in the 70s, the historic houses in the center of the town were abandoned to graduate students who heated beans over Bunsen burners on the hard pine floors, sliced apartments out of ballrooms. When neglect and humidity caused the houses to rot and droop and develop rusty scales, there was a second abandonment to poor people, squatters. We moved here 10 years ago because our houses were cheap and had virgin lumber bones, and because I decided that if I had to live in the South, with its boiled peanuts and its Spanish moss dangling like armpit hair, at least I wouldn't barricade myself with my whiteness in a gated community. Isn't it dicey? People our parents' age would say, grimacing. When we told them where we lived, and it took all my willpower not to say, "Do you mean poor?" Because it is. White middle-classness has since infected the neighborhood. Though, and now everything is frenzied with renovation. In the past few years, the people have mostly withdrawn, the homeless stayed for a while, because our neighborhood abuts Bo Diddley Plaza. That is a name. Bo Diddley Plaza, where, until recently, churches handed out food and to God. Oh God, my father. Wait, shouldn't I say, oh Father, my father? Anyway. And where Occupy rolled in like a tide and claimed the right to sleep here, then grew tired of being dirty and rolled out, leaving behind a human flotsam of homeless and sleeping bags. During our first month in the house, we hosted a homeless couple we only ever saw slinking off in the dawn. At dusk, they would silently lift off their lattice work to the crawl space under the house and then sleep. Their roof, our bedroom floor, and when we got up in the middle of the night, we tried to walk softly because it felt rude to step inches above the face of a dreaming person. On my nighttime walks, the neighbors' lives revealed themselves. The lit windows, domestic aquariums at times, in the silent witness to fights that look like slow dancing without music. It is astonishing how people live, the messes they sustain, the delicious whiffs of cooking that carry through the street, the holiday decorations that slowly seep into the daily decor. All January I watched a Christmas bouquet of roses on one mantel diminish until the flowers were a blighted shrivel and the water green. A huge Santa on a stick, still beaming merrily out of the ruins. Window after windows nears, freezes with its blue fog of television light, or its couple hunched over a supper of pizza, holds as I pass, then slices into the forgotten. I think of the way water gathers as it slips down an icicle's length, pauses to build its glossy drop, becomes too fat to hang on, and plummets down. There is one mostly windowless place in the neighborhood, a yellow brick monstrosity that I love nevertheless, because it houses nuns. There used to be 6 of them there, but attrition happened, as it does with the very old ladies, and now there are only 3 kindly sisters squeaking around that immense space in their sensible shoes. A realtor friend told us that when it was built in the 1950s, a bomb shelter was lowered into the porous limestone of the backyard. And during sleepless nights, when my body is in bed but my brain is still out walking in the dark, I like to imagine the nuns in full regalia in their shelter, singing hymns and spinning on stationary bike to keep the light bulbs sputtering on, while above ground, all has been blasted black and rusted hinges rasp the wind. Welcome, Kaiboitos. I'm doing very well. How are you? Because the nights are cold, I share the streets with few people. There's a young couple who jog at pace slightly slower than my fast walk. I follow them, listening to their patter of wedding plans and fights with their friends. Once, I forgot myself and laughed at something they said, and their faces owled, unnerved, back at me. Then they trotted faster and took the first turn they found, and I let them disappear into the black. That's a very nice game. It's been a while since I played. There's an elegant tall woman who walks, a Great Dane, the colour of dry lint. I'm afraid that the woman is unwell because she walks rigidly, her face pulsing as if intermittently electrified by pain. I sometimes imagine how. Should I barrel around a corner to find her slumped on the ground? I would drape her over her dog, smack his withers and watch as he, with his great dignity, carried her home. There is a boy of 15 or so, tremendously fat, whose shirt is always off and who is always on the treadmill in his glassed porch. No matter how many times I find myself sailing past his window, there he is. His footsteps pounding so hard I can hear them from 2 blocks away. Because all the lights are on, to him there is nothing beyond the black in the window. And I wonder if he watches his reflection the way I watch him. That's a little creepy. Kinda reminds me of my father. If he sees how with each step he ripples as if he were in a pond into which someone had tossed a fist-sized stone. There's this shy, muttering homeless lady, a collector of cans, who hoists her clanging bags on the back of her bicycle and uses the old carriage blocks in front of the Garanda houses to mount her ride. The waft of her makes me think of the wealthy southern dames in the dark silk who once used to use those blocks to climb in their carriages, emitting a similarly intimate feminine smell. There's a man who hisses nasties as he stands under the light outside of the bodega, with bars over its windows. I put on my "don't fuck with me" face, and he has yet to do more than hiss. But there is part of me that is more than ready, that wants to use what's building up. Well, my, someone's getting quite aggressive, wouldn't you say? Sometimes I think I see the stealthy couple who lived under our house. The particular angle of his solicitousness, his hand on her back, but when I come closer, it is only a papaya tree bent over a rain barrel, or two boys smoking in the bushes, who turn weary as I pass. As I walk, I see strangers, but also people I know. I look up in the beginning of February to see a close friend in a pink leotard in her window, stretching, but then, with a zip of understanding, I realize she isn't stretching. She's drying her legs, oh my, and the leotard is in fact her body, pinked from the hot shower. Even though I visited her in the hospital when both of her boys were born, held the newborns in my arms when they still smelled of her, saw the raw Carsaean pit, it isn't until I watched her drying herself that I understand that she is a sexual being. And then the next time we speak, I can't help but blush. I'm not going to read the rest of that because I will get demonetized. Mostly, however, I see mothers I know in glimpses, bent like shepherdless crooks, scanning the floor for tiny Legos or half-chewed grapes, or the people they once were slumped in corners. I have mostly stopped caring where I walk, but when I try to be at the duck pond every night, when the Christmas lights, forgotten for weeks now, click off, and the pond erupts, the frogs launching into their syncopathed song like a nursery school let loose in a room of untuned lutes. A pair of black swans which shout at the frogs with their brass voices, as if to shut them up, but outnumbered. The birds would soon give up and climb their island in the center of the pond and twine their necks together to sleep. Aw, how cute. The swans had 4 cygnets last spring, sweet cheeping puffs that were the delight of my little boys, who tossed dog food at them every day until one morning, while the swans were distracted by a food, one cygnet gave a choked peep, bobbed, then went down. It came up again, but across the pond, in the paws of an otter that ate it in small. I did not see that coming, I won't lie. That's unfortunate. The otter got one more cygnet before the wildlife service arrived to scoop up the remaining 2. But it was later reported in the neighborhood newsletter that the tiny swan hearts had given out in fear. The parent swans floated for months, inconsolable, though perhaps this is a projection, for since they are both black swans and parents, they are already pre-feathered in mourning. The cold lingers on into March. It has been a hard winter for everyone, though not as terrible as in the north, and I think of my friends and family up there, with their dirty walls of snow, and try to remember the camellias and peach trees and dogwoods and oranges are all abloom there, even in the dark. I smell the jasmine potent in my hair the next morning, the way I used to smell cigarette smoke and sweat after going to a nightclub, back when I was young, and could do such unthinkable things. There is a ventricular style of architecture called cracker, which is not meant to cause offense. All porches and high ceilings, and by the middle of March, one of the oldest cracker houses in north-central Florida is being renovated. The facade is preserved, but the rest is gutted, night by night. I see what remains of the house, as daily it is stripped away, until one night the house has entirely vanished. Now, while I stand before the collapsed house, the woman with the Great Dane slides by through the dark, and I notice how aggressively pale she has become, so skinny her cheeks must touch the inside of her mouth, her wig askew to show a rind of scalp above her bangs. If she, in turn, notices the particular dark spike of my unrest, She says only a soft goodnight, and her dog looks at me with a kind of human compassion. And together they move off, stately and gentle, into the black. I walk on, and the boys' trotting noises fade. I keep hearing the disquenting constant sound that I can't place. It is a sticky night. I shed my jacket last week, and it is only gradually that I understand that the noise is coming from the first air conditioner turned on of the year. Soon they'll all be on, crashed like trolls under the window, a collective tuneless hum, drowning out the night birds and frogs, and time will leap forward, and the night will grow more and more reluctant to descend. And in the cool linger of twilight, people longing for real air after the sickly fade cold all day will come out, and I will no longer have my dangerous dark streets to myself. There is a pleasant smell like campfires in the air, and I think that the old turpentine pine forest that ring the city must be on fire, which happens once a year or so. And I wonder about all those poor birds seared out of their sleep and into the disorientating darkness. I discover the next morning that it was worse. A controlled burn over the acres where dozens of the homeless had been living in a tent city. And I walk down to Luck, but it's all great oaks, lonely and blackened from the waist down in a plain of steaming charcoal. When I return to see the 6-foot fences around Bo Diddley Plaza, I still love that name, Bo Diddley Plaza, which had gone up that same night for construction. Or so the signs say. It is clear that it is a part of a larger plan, politically executed. I stand, squinting in the daylight, wanting to yell, looking to find a displaced person. Please, I think. Please let my couple come by. Let me see their faces at least. Let me take their arms. I want to make them sandwiches and give them blankets and tell them that it's okay, that they can live under my house. I'm glad I can't find anyone later, when I remember that it is not a kind thing to tell a human being that they can live under your house. Yes, whatever gave you that idea? The week of heat proves temporary, a full start to the season. The weather again turns so calmly and cold that nobody else comes out, and I shiver as I walk until I escape my chill by going into the drugstore for Epsom salts to soak my walking away. It is astonishing to enter the dazzling color, the ferocious heat after the chilly gray scale, to travel hundreds of miles over the cracked sidewalk and sparse palmetto and black path crossing cats I dart away from, into this abundance with its aisles of gaudy trash and useless wrapping and plastic pull tabs that will one day end up in the throat of the Earth's last sea turtle. This person really... Whoever wrote this story really has a few issues. And so I walk, and at some point, near the wildly singing frogs, I look up, and out of the darkness, a stun. The new possessor of the old nunnery has installed uplighting, not on the aesthetic blank of the cube, but rather on the ardent live oak in front of it. So old and so broad, it spreads out over half an acre. I've always known the trees were there, and my children have often swung on its low branches, and from the bark plucked out ferns and epiphytes with which to adorn my head. But it has never before announced itself fully as the colossus as it is. With its branches that are so heavy, they grow towards the ground, then touch and grow upward again, and thus, elbowing itself up, it brings to mind a woman at that kitchen table, knuckling her chin and dreaming. I stand shocked by its beauty, and as I look, I imagine the swans on their island, seeing the bright spark in the night, and feeling their swan hearts moved. I hope they understand, my sons, both now and in the future. Just maternalizing in the dark, That all these hours their mother has been seen so swiftly walking away from them, I have not been gone. That my spirit, hours ago, slipped back into the house and crept into the room, where their eerily rising father has already fallen asleep. I think I figured out this story, actually. I believe she is the ghost that it mentions. Because it talks about her spirit coming back into the house, but not her herself. Usually before 8 p.m, and I touch this gentleman whom I love so desperately, and somehow fear so much. Touched him on the pulse of his temple, and felt his dreams, which are too distant for the likes of me. And I climbed the cold old creaking stairs, and at the top split in two, and heading right and left into separate rooms, slid through the crack under the door. She is the ghost. Either that or she's just very small. And curled myself on the pillows to breathe into me the breath that my boys breathed out. Drink time. And I broke. Soon tomorrow the boys will be men, and the men will leave the house, and my husband and I will look at each other, crouching under the weight of all that we wouldn't or couldn't yell. And all those hours aside walking, my body, my shadow, the moon. It is terribly true, even if the truth does not comfort, that if you look at the moon for long enough, night after night as I have, you'll see that the old cartoons are correct, that the moon is, in fact, laughing, but not at us. We who are too small, and our lives too fleeting for it to give us any notice at all. Is that where it ends? We were just piecing it together. That was getting good. So I believe that she was a ghost. As much as she wandered the streets, she was also returning home to take care of her husband and children. She was the ghost, and the people she encountered on her walks were the empties or other ghosts along the way. Well, what did we all think of that little story? I don't believe I have any others. I can always try. It was quite an interesting story. It kind of went on a bit of a tangent just to get to the point that she was a bit of a ghost, but perhaps it's one that's deliberately meant to take some time. After all, it is a bedtime story. Oh, damn sadness. Well, I'm sorry that was a little sad. Let's see if we can find some bedtime poems then. There's one called Behind Each Star. Oh, that's very short actually, never mind. It's very hard to find any. Minnie and Winnie. These are very short as well. Minnie and Winnie slept in a shell. Sleep, little ladies. And they slept well. Pink was the shell within, silver without. Sounds of the great sea wandered about. Sleep, little ladies. Wake not soon. Echo on echo dies to the moon. Two bright stars peeped into the shell. What are they dreaming of? Who can tell? Started a green linnet out of the croft. Wake, little ladies. The sun is aloft. And this one is called Mother's Song. My heart is like a fountain true, that flows and flows with love to you. As chirps the lurk unto the tree, so chirps my pretty babe to me. And it's so sweet, sweet, and a lullaby. There's not a rose where I seek, as comely as my baby's cheek. There's an odd one as well. There's not a comb of honeybee, so full of sweets as babe to me. Hello, Candy Cotton, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. Welcome to the void. There is not a star that shines on high, is brighter than my baby's eyes. There's not a boat upon the sea that can dance as my baby does to me. And it's so sweet, sweet, and a lullaby. No silk was ever spun so fine as is the air of baby of mine. My baby smells more sweet to me than smells in spring the elder tree. And it's so sweet, sweet, a lullaby. That one was pretty sweet. You see what I did there? That one's called a cradle hymn. Oh, that's fine. We can all cradle and cuddle together for this one then, maybe. Hush, my dear. Lie still and slumber. Holy angels guard thy bed. We are at your service. Heavenly blessings without number, gently falling on thy head. Sleep, my babe, thy food and raiment. House and home thy friends provide, all without thy care of payment. All thy wants are well supplied. Oh God, cotton candy, just like that one song. Cotton candy. How much better thou art attended than the Son of God could be, when from heaven I didn't descend, I fell, and became a child like thee. I'm not a child either. Soft and easy is thy cradle, coarse and hard thy Saviour lay, when his birthplace was a stable, and his softest bed was hay. Blessed babe, what glorious features, spotless fair, divinely bright. Must he dwell with beautiful creatures? How could angels bear the sight? Was there nothing but a manger cursed sinners could afford to receive thy heavenly stranger? Did they thus affront their Lord? Soft, my child, I did not chide thee, though my song might sound too hard. 'Tis thy mother sits beside thee, and her arms shall be thy guard. Yet to read the shameful story, how the Jews abused their king, how they served the Lord of glory, makes me angry while I sing. See the kinder shepherds round him tell wonders from the sky, where they sought him, where they found him, with his virgin mother by. See the lovely babe addressing, lovely infant how he smiled, when he wept the mother's blessing, soothed and hushed the holy child. Lo, he slumbers in his manger, where the horned oxen fed. Peace, my darling, there is no danger. Here's no ox near thy bed. There was to save thee, child, from dying. Save my dear from burning flame. Bitter groans and endless crying, that thy blessed Redeemer came. Mayst thou live to know and fear him, trust and love him all thy days. Then go dwell forever near him, see his face and sing his praise. Was that a poem about my father or my brother? I couldn't tell. Was that Jesus or Father? And there is another, sleep, baby of mine. Night and the darkness are near. But Jesus looks... Oh, why are you bringing my brother into this? But Jesus looks down through the shadows that frown, and baby has nothing to fear. Hush, little sleepy blue eyes. Dear little head, be at rest. Jesus, like you, was a baby once too, and slept on his own mother's chest. Sleep, little baby of mine, soft on your pillow so white. Jesus is here to watch over you, dear, and nothing can harm you tonight. Oh, little darling of mine, what can you know of the bliss, the comfort I keep, awake and sleep, because I'm certain of this. Little baby, lay your head on your pretty cradle bed. Shut your eye, peeps, now the day and the light are gone away. All the clothes are tucked in tight. Little baby dear, good night. Yes, my darling, well I know how the bitter wind doth blow, and the winter's snow and rain patter on the window pane. But they cannot come in here to my little baby dear, for the window shutters fast till the stormy night is past, and the curtains warm are spread round about her cradle bed, till morning shineth bright, little baby dear, good night. These are some sweet little poems and lullabies. How did we enjoy them? Oh, Kai's melting your heart and blowing you kisses. That's adorable. They're very cuddly. Aw. Damn, I'm missing the cuddles right now. A shame, we could have had a little cuddle puddle. Everyone cuddling and sleeping together. So sweet. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed the little sleepy time stream. I'm glad that they're coming. Hopefully you've all enjoyed them. And thank you for all joining me. It's been a fun little debut. Soon we'll be having much bigger streams. But this is a nice little debut for those that come first. How are you guys enjoying the model as well? By all means, not the best or the last, but it's the first of many to come. Oh, hello Boxy, I see your name is Favorita. It's quite cute. Even your YouTube reflects that you're my favorite. ¿Cómo estás, Boxy? Because I am, yes you are. Oh, thank you, thank you. It does, it makes perfect. Again, it's not the best, but I would say it's a decent start. I tried to go a little more 3D with it, but nothing too flashy. Are we all enjoying the background music as well? Is it coming through? Yes, you are my favorita. My favorita, señorita. Yes, it's coming through. Very good, very good. Oh yes, and before I forget, I do need to draw attention to the first sponsors that we have. You're gonna see them on both channels as well. Also, that the chat box seems to be struggling a little. Like coming in very let's see, where is it? This got very sleepy. Aw. Well, it's very early for you. Don't fall asleep just yet. But hopefully it helps you relax. Aw, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you yawn. Actually, that's a whole ass lie. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes. Where was I? Oh, yes. Yes, you're going to be seeing this kind of stream format on both channels, mostly on this one. But we have our first sponsors. They were up in the top corner over there. Oh, don't fall over. Dear father. Yes, so there they are. I see them. They're popping up now. Yes, so we have our first channel sponsors and partnerships. We are currently sponsored by What the Fast, a little gaming engine and VPN for you all to use. You get a little bit of a discount off if you use my link. And I'm also part of the VoiceMod Synth Partner Program as well now. Partnered up with VoiceMod. So stay tuned for some occasional competitions where you can win a lot of prizes. And for those that do use VoiceMod, if you have any suggestions for future filters or improvements to VoiceMod itself, feel free to send them to me and I'll be able to pass them on to the actual team. When you're a partner, the voice is heard. It's fun. We can probably get a lot of has-been filters out of that. And thank you, Cassandra Knight. I appreciate it. Well, it's been a fun little stream. I don't really want to go. But I hope you've all enjoyed it anyway. I think I'm going to end it now. Been near an hour. We'll have longer streams soon. So, thank you all for joining me. It has been an absolute pleasure reading you all some bedtime stories. I see that, Cassandra Kane. Oh no. Well, keep an eye out for future streams. We'll be doing a lot more. And also, a lot more songs as well. Me and our darling Cassandra Knight here have been working on some. We have actually one to record tomorrow, and then we are going to be working on the music once the lyrics are finalized. Thank you, Boxy. I love you too. Yes, I'll do more bedtime stories too then. Only problem is, with me being in the UK, it gets a little hard to try and make it a bedtime story for some of you guys. Especially those of you on the West Coast. Speaking of which, I did have a wonderful time when I was in the West Coast. It's quite a nice place. Next time I'll be visiting LA, I believe. But first I have some trips planned to the East Coast. Also what's wrong, Cass? I have to give credit where credit is due. You are excellent at writing these lyrics. It's been a pleasure working with you. And for everyone else on the stream, it has been my pleasure serving you for tonight. So once again, thank you for joining me, and good night.